Welcome home, Freelancer. Allendale here with Anthem Enclave, bringing you another Seasonal Stronghold guide. This time we're diving into the Sunken Cell. Personally, this is my favorite stronghold, but it is definitely the most difficult and complicated of the 4 Seasonal Strongholds. There are a lot of hiding places for the secrets in this stronghold. There's lots of space, lots of height, lots of little corners and objects to be tucked into. And for some reason, the spawns in this stronghold seem to be weighted differently, in that 99% of the time you may see something in one spot, but then one day it isn't. This video will cover all of the spawn locations you're likely to ever see, but even a year into the content as we are right now, we still do find new ones from time to time, so if you see something that is not covered in this video, please let us know in the comments. There's a lot to cover here, so we're going to use quite a few screenshots to show off the locations a little bit better than the video can, and our written guide will be linked in the description below, which you may find helpful as well. This first room is pretty much the only simple room in the entire stronghold. There is one multiplier orb, and it is always in the same spot, just behind this pillar all the way at the back. These gold multiplier orbs are one of several different ways that you can increase your multiplier throughout the stronghold. Your score multiplier shown on the right side of your screen will affect every single thing you do in this stronghold, and it's by far the most important thing you should focus on. As long as you manage to get up to the maximum 16 times multiplier, you're going to come out with a great score. Don't forget to grab this on your way down, as once you hit the ground, the flight suppression is going to kick in, and getting back up in here can be a real pain. You can use the platforms on the outside of the arena to jump up, or you can wait till the end of the event when the flight suppression ends, but obviously that will cost you some points not having the multiplier for the whole event. That's all we have to worry about in this room, so now you just need to finish the event by standing in the circle and keeping enemies out as much as possible. Now we'll move into the first hallway, where you'll find a multiplier orb, a note chain, and 3 red boxes. Notes are these little colored orbs that you'll find throughout the stronghold. Each color signifies a different weight of points. Green is worth 10 points, blue is worth 50, and purple is worth 900 before your multiplier. A note chain is a trail of notes that needs to be picked up in the correct order in order to maximize your points. You'll see that this note in front of me is blue, but the one off in the distance there is green. Watch what happens when I pick up the blue note. The green one turns to blue. This will happen all the way down the chain. Each green note will turn blue until you get to the final note, which will change purple if you do it right. But if you pick up one green note in the wrong order, the whole chain breaks and you'll get no more blues and you will not get the purple at the end. The multiplier is almost always right under the doorway here, but it can also spawn in the final ring all the way at the end of this hallway, shown here on the picture in the yellow circle. Red crates are these little boxes, which when broken give you a small amount of points. There will be 3 of them in this hallway. They can be kind of hard to see. They tend to be dirty sitting in the water here and kind of blend in with the background. They only have 3 blue notes each of them, which is 150 base points. It's not a big deal. If you don't find them all, don't waste too much time. Just keep going. Keep collecting the note chain, being sure to only pick up the blue notes. Follow it all the way down this hallway into the next room, where it's going to loop around and come out back near the entrance. Now this room is where things get a little less simple. The first Grabbit statue can spawn in this room, but it is quite rare. It is almost always in the next room, but you do need to make sure that you look for it here, because you don't want to have to come back and waste a whole bunch of time. Grabbit statues are collectibles that are found throughout the stronghold. There are 4 of them that you'll need to find and break in order to spawn a golden Grabbit at the end of the stronghold. The golden Grabbit will give you a whole bunch of points and another multiplier. This is worth about 2 million points on Grandmaster 3, which means 2,000 crystals, so it is very important that you get all these statues. There are 3 possible spawn locations in this room for the Grabbit. The first one, when looking from the entranceway, is up and to the right on top of a raised platform, which you can see marked here with a purple circle. The second one is directly underneath you as you come into the room, right underneath this metal platform here. And the last one is around the back side of the room, just above the exit tunnel, which opens up once you finish the event to let you into the waterway. That's all we need to worry about in this room, so now just finish the event here and move on. That's done by activating the relics on either side of the tunnel here. Once activated, that'll play a pattern across the 3 pedestals, which you just need to step on in the order shown in order to open the door. Now, if you didn't find the Grabbit in the last room, which you probably didn't, it will be in this next room. There's also a multiplier orb here. The Grabbit will most commonly be up on this platform here where it is in this recording. The multiplier will either be here where it is in the video, which is marked B on this picture, or it can be across on the other side of the entranceway, C, underneath a platform. And the last potential spawn is on the opposite end of the room near the exit door on the right side. If you didn't find the Grabbit up on the ledge to the right, which is marked D here, it could possibly be in the corner beside the exit door to the left, marked E on the picture. If it's not on either of these spots, you've probably missed it in the room before and you'll need to go back and look for it. Now finally it's time to start the first event of this stronghold. Each of the seasonal strongholds have 3 events that start a bonus score multiplier timer on the top right. Finishing the event within the allotted time will award you 1 multiplier, while failing to do so will cost you 1. Each event also has a mini-boss that can be spawned for an additional multiplier. In this room there's a ring of 7 control rods that need to be pushed down into the floor. In order to spawn the mini-boss, you need to look at the center of the room where the green and red arrows are, and only activate the control rods that are green. Do not touch the red ones. When you have all 4 green control rods down into the floor, the mini-boss will spawn in the center, but if you push down any of the red ones, you'll have to wait for the whole thing to reset and try again.
Just make them go down and don't let them come back up. Ah, science.
As soon as you see the mini-boss spawn, which will be the enemy with the marked target over his head, you should immediately try to put down the rest of the control rods. If you move quickly, you can get the other 3 down before the first 4 pop up again, otherwise you'll have to redo all the 4 you just did. Now once this completes, you'd normally expect the event timer to end and your multiplier to increase, but in this case, this event is actually 2 different rooms combined, so you're going to have to move quick. An easy way to save a few seconds once the event ends is to open your map and respawn. This will move you to the central water tube, which you now need to go up to the next room, and saves you from having to fly through that whole tunnel again. Now because this is a 2-room event, we've already got the mini-boss in the last room. There's nothing to worry about here. All there is here is a multiplier orb, which has 4 different spawn locations. The first one to check as you come into the room is directly above the entrance, hovering on top of the hatch that is sitting open. Next you can fly around to the back of the room and check behind this big pillar, hovering about halfway up. Also on this picture you can see the beast spawn is very high up, near the ceiling. This is where it spawned in the video, and it took me a while to find because this is always the last place I check since it's so out of the way I forget that it even exists. The last place to check is behind the turret at the back of the room, down a hallway to the left. Once you've got the multiplier, all that's left to do is clear the room to finish the event. As we move to the next event, there's a hallway here that has 2 chambers linked together by an underwater tunnel. There will be 3 red crates between the 2 above water chambers, and there's a note chain that runs through the water and up into the next event room. My teammates here broke the note chain before I could get to it, but I continue picking up the greens just to show you the path that it takes. Be careful when you come out of the water, as the next note is pretty high up in the air. If you're not paying attention, you may miss it and break the rest of the chain. Now we're into what is probably the most complicated room in the stronghold. We've got 3 floors, a multiplier orb, a Grabbit statue, and a mini-boss to spawn. Spawning the mini-boss here is as simple as grabbing these 5 red orbs that are throughout this 3-floor room. There's 1 on the first floor, 2 on the second, and 2 on the third. They're very easy to find. As you come up to both the second and third floors, the first one will be on your right, and the other one will just be across the room on the other side. The Grabbit statue in this room is one of those things in this stronghold that we talked about in the early part of this video, where it spawns in the same spot almost every single time. You very well may never see it anywhere other than perched on top of this waterfall, as it's here probably 99% of the time, or maybe even more. But there are 2 more spawns, and one of them we just found a couple of weeks ago after more than a year of running this stronghold. Both of the other spawns are on the first floor. The first one is right next to the first red orb, on the ground to the right, and the other is to the right of the ring puzzle in the back of the room, up on a ledge right beside the center water tube. Now we're grabbing the second red orb on the second floor, and while you're over here, make sure you look to your left for the first possible spawn location of the multiplier orb. The other spawn is on the third floor, in basically the same position, but on the opposite side of the room, on the right side of the room. If you didn't find the multiplier on the second floor, it will be just to your left as you come up to the third floor here. beaten to the red orbs on this floor, but if you look up to your left right after you grab the multiplier, up on this tall platform will be the first one, and then all the way across the room on the other side will be the last. Once you get that, the mini boss will spawn, you can kill that and finish the puzzles. If you're not sure how to do this puzzle, it's pretty simple. There are 4 rotating rings with different symbols on them. Starting from the center going outwards, match the symbols together and hold your interact key to lock them together. Once all 3 rings are complete, the water tube on the 3rd floor will open up and give you access to the next level of the stronghold. As you come out of the water here, you'll find the Sunken Cell's tile puzzle. This is basically just a game of Sudoku, if you know how to play that. There are tiles with different symbols scattered around the room that you need to pick up and bring over to this board. They need to be placed down in a way so that no symbol repeats in any of the horizontal or vertical lines or in the 2x2 boxes. I find this to be the easiest of the 4 stronghold puzzles, as there's really no luck element to it. You can't really get unlucky here, and a good chunk of the board's already done for you when you get started, so it's pretty easy to see where you need to go. Now coming into this next room, we have the trickiest of all the note chains in the entire game. This thing zigzags and loops and goes back and forth, and it really tries to make you screw up here. Just take your time and be careful not to grab any green notes. Unfortunately, my teammate cut me off here and broke the chain, but I tried to follow the path as best as I could, but a bunch of notes were missing, so just take your time and have a look around. There will also be another 3 red crates between this room and through the next room with the lasers, and there will also be a multiplier orb right in the middle of all of these lasers down this hallway. Now a little note on courtesy here, there is a chest up in this hallway right before the next room. If you have somebody staying back to do the puzzle and you've pushed ahead, don't immediately open this chest, as the puzzle's too far away and the loot will not spawn from it for them. Ideally you just want to ignore the chest and let them open it as they come through, and then you can come back and collect the loot at a later point. Alright, final room, final objectives, and we got one of each here again. We got a mini boss, we got a Grabbit, and we got a multiplier orb. First place you want to check for the Grabbit is directly above the doorway as you come in. This is the most common spawn. If it's not there, it will probably be just down below on top of one of these metal support beams. Very rarely it can also spawn down at the very bottom of the room, along the bottom ring of the center device, and also along the ledges on the outside of the room. The multiplier will spawn in the middle of one of these light rings along the outside walls. It can be in pretty much any of them, so just take a lap around the room, looking carefully into each ring. The ring light does a good job of hiding it, so make sure you have a good look at each one. The mini boss has already spawned while I was doing the puzzle, but in order to spawn it, all you gotta do is grab some echoes, go down to the bottom ring of the room, and put them into these echo receptacles, which are around the outside of the room and on the bottom ring of the structure. After you've done all that and killed all the turrets in the room, you just bring the 12 echoes up to the echo pad up near the top of the room, which finishes the event and opens the pathway to the boss. Once you get to the boss room, you'll find the 4th and final Grabbit statue, which, if you've gotten the first 3, will immediately spawn the Grabbit in the boss room. You've got a few seconds to kill him before the boss spawns, which is ideal because you really don't want to have to deal with both of them at the same time. And that's it. You've done it. If you managed to get all the multipliers and get most of the objectives throughout the way, you should easily have enough crystals now to get at least 2 war chests on Grandmaster 3. Or if you're not quite there yet, Grandmaster 2 should give you well over the 5,000 crystals you need per chest, and Grandmaster 1 should be pretty close to that, but maybe not quite. Hope you're all able to use this video to ease your loot grind pains a little bit and get the things you're looking for a little bit quicker. We've got tons more guides like this at anthemonclave.com, from stronghold guides to gameplay guides all the way through build guides. We plan to make as many of them as we can into YouTube guides in the future, so if you want to stay updated, subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Good luck and stronger together.